Hey guys, welcome back to the Lawrenceville Bicentennial Podcast, where we talk to the people that know Lawrenceville best. I'm your host, Nate McGill from Gwinnett Magazine, and today on the show, we're talking to Mayor David Still and City Manager Chuck Warbington, and we're talking about all of the cool things happening in Lawrenceville right now. What's going on in our history today? And I sit back and listen as these two guys tell me all of the updates and all of the cool things that have happened recently. And I say that's awesome a whole lot because they talk about a lot of really awesome stuff. So let's check it out right now, this conversation with Mayor David Still, City Manager Chuck Warbington. Check it out. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Lawrenceville Bicentennial Podcast. Today we are here with City Manager Chuck Warbington, Mayor of Lawrenceville, David Still. We're going to be talking about all the cool things that have been happening in Lawrenceville since I saw you guys last, which was at the Lawrenceville Bicentennial event, the big birthday party for Lawrenceville and the new gorgeous Lawrenceville Arts Center. It was a very fun night, and we don't have to do it again for another 100 or 200 years. So we're good, you know? Fun time. Guys, what's been going on with the city? Maybe give us the overview. David, you want to jump in and just kind of give us what some of the things that's been going on since?
Well, we still have a lot of, redevelopment we've been doing. Our Arts Center has, obviously opened up and getting more steam and people understanding they can, rent it and have all their activities there, from
that's pretty cool,
weddings to dance performances by the local dance schools, and then our actually SOTA, the School of the Arts, they have actually are doing SpongeBob there now,
cool.
About to start. So
nice.
We've got a lot of neat activities happening at the Arts Center, and people really beginning to understand what they all can do there and how much a catalyst is going to be for activities and entertainment.
It gives you a place to go.
Right.
We talked to some of the free comic book day folks, and they're doing like a mini convention this year. It's getting kicked off and going, and they're using the Arts Center to have people come in and do panels and things like that. It's just great to have a venue like that, right, Chuck?
It is, and so I think the bicentennial event that we had was really a precursor of what we see to come. It was a gathering point for all folks within our city, and so it was an incredible event, and we were glad to be able to host that as the second oldest city in Gwinnett County,
right?
And to celebrate the 200th anniversary is a lifetime event for all of us. So we see that as a continued opportunity for all types of events in the Arts Center.
Yeah, it's so great. It's like what you guys did is you took the growth and the amazing magic that's already been happening in Lawrenceville, and you built your Disney World castle. It is in the middle. It is right there next to the courthouse. This is like a good place for folks to come. It brings people in. There's all kinds of shows going on for all sorts of things. I think that's going to be just an amazing thing for years to come. So that's super exciting. Let's talk about like what all else is happening in the city. Do you see growth? You see, goodness gracious, the building that's going up around the square, and those. How many blocks is it? 8 blocks? Is that like the main structure?
So nine
blocks. Yeah, that center piece of Lawrenceville is just always constantly growing, and you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff there. So what else we got going on, David?
Well, downtown Lawrenceville is our hub, and as long as our hub is vibrant, then the rest of the city can live off that. For instance, we have the Wynn. It's going to be more residential housing coming in right behind the Arts Center. We're working towards having our boutique hotel, and both those projects will be game changers for the downtown area. In addition to our restaurants that you see, many of the buildings are being renovated.
Yeah.
Some are going from 1-story to 2-story, so they can house different types of restaurants, from high-end Mexican restaurant to a white linen tablecloth steakhouse.
That's very
coming
cool.
in. We've got a couple of people looking to do boutique grocery stores, if you will, sort of grab it and go food. We finally have our first little, quote, if you want to call it, convenience store that is opened up in the little right next to McCrae's, which is very small, but it's it makes it so people can grab a Coke or whatnot. Instead of having to go in and order at a restaurant.
Sure.
So we've got a lot of neat things. Staff, Chuck's been working with his staff to make sure we have walkability, where people can, move about the city safely. And so we're doing more and more activities to make that happen.
Sure.
And then connectivity to our neighborhoods. I live a mile or so away, and I can easily walk. My wife and I can walk from our subdivision to downtown. And
it's nice.
It's neat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, there's just so much always going on. Depot area is growing. Y'all have got some signs coming in for the depot area. I've seen some of the digital kiosks that's going on. Y'all are making a lot of improvements.
Yeah, so when you look at the downtown area, I think the mayor explained this very well from a specific standpoint, but at a higher level, it's all making sure we maintain the historical character. We have a walkable community, and then everybody feels safe and inclusive and being a part of what's happening in the area. He mentioned the Wynn. That actually is named after Elisha Wynn. Kind of, again, bringing in that historical throwback to the downtown area. And also the hotel that is coming very soon is built from a rendering standpoint and structural standpoint to be a throwback to Genesco, the General Shoe Company, which used to be in that area. So it is very important to mayor and council and the community that we keep that historical character as we begin to redevelop and continue to thrive in our downtown area.
Right.
All is based on making sure it's walkable, making sure that people feel safe, they can get out. We've had outdoor dining that we've added into the area. The kiosks have been changed from a static standpoint to a dynamic, so they're digital signage that changes on a regular basis now. And then the signs that you mentioned in the depot area is a product of combining the engineering and also the Arts Commission. So we had an initiative to keep trash trucks, tractor trailers from moving into the downtown area.
Right.
The Arts Commission said, well, why don't we do signs and we'll make them a monument? And so ultimately that is on the council agenda to approve very soon. And these new signs will prohibit tractor trailers and trash trucks and other large vehicles in the downtown area, making it more walkable and enjoyable. And at the same time, they're going to be decorative. They're going to be monuments, and so it'll outline what happens in the area.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
In trying to create a thriving downtown, you have to have rooftops where people live. And that's what all the city planners have told us. So that started off with South Lawn, City View first, then South Lawn. And then we've got another development right across from Central Gwinnett High School that's going to have 90-plus homes that are detached and townhomes.
Oh, wow.
And we're trying to have a balance of all housing. And so we really don't have a lot of executive housing. So those houses will be going anywhere from $600,000 to $800,000 in price point. So we've got that going on. We've finally broken ground for one street, which is walkable, and that's affordable housing. Working through the Lawrenceville Housing Authority, it's 300 units there that will be built, 2 different projects. So we've got just a variety of residential work projects going on that's going to really continue to make downtown thrive.
Right. And
then this halo effect is already happening, like with my older neighborhood that was built in the 50s and the 60s and some of the 70s in Forest Hills. It's getting a new look. People are coming in and renovating houses. And so it's sort of neat to watch that halo effect occur.
Yeah, the growth is like it's booming and then spreading out. There's always like something going on and something to do too. It's probably good you guys put in the digital signs because there's like a new event. I got to do the chili cook-off over at Universal Joint with my dad not too long ago. And that was fantastic just to be down there in Lawrenceville the whole day and cooking some chili and all those folks walking up. And it's just amazing that you can even have these events that are just like, the businesses wanting to do something with their parking lot because the people are there. They can show up. They can walk right in. I mean, it is not like it was, guys, we had years ago. Not at all.
Chuck's staff has worked on developing 26, I believe it's 26 events that the city is putting on. Then you have all these other events coming on. I mean, this weekend alone is a bed race, Family Promise bed race going around the square, and then we also have Paul Fest that the city's putting on. So we've got 2 competing events at exactly the same time. So it's sort of like the Braves and the Hawks playing in Atlanta all at the same time.
Right? Yeah. Well, y'all will pull it off. Y'all guys do car shows out there. Y'all have a lot of things going on. There's always something, which is great. I think that attracts people to the city. You want to build community and culture. You have those historical touch points where you can actually, see the history and the culture is preserved and thriving, even in the growth of it all, which is great because a lot of times when cities grow, they might grow too fast or they might sprawl out too quickly and they lose some of their culture. And so it's great that the city's being intentional about preserving some of that, even as we have this season of growth. And then the events and the walkability and the culture. I mean, you guys are it's like a culture, capital for Gwinnett. The art community's thriving, doing really well.
Right, and with the Arts Commission that we formed, I guess 2020, they're helping with walkability with our Shoehorn Alley.
That's right,
which is going to have some really neat artwork that's being put up and installed now, gateways, and then they're doing they've commissioned a mural to be painted on the side of McCrae's, and Scott McCrae's has agreed to that.
Oh, that's very cool.
So that's going to be happening, and so they've got other projects like with the College Corridor.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to put artwork in the various roundabouts as it connects with GGC. So we're really working to be a community of art.
Yeah, that's great. That Shoehorn Alley is a great example of that because, in 10, 15 years, people are going to be like, why is this called Shoehorn Alley? Well, and you guys named it because of the history of and preserving what was in that spot right there, which was there for, decades.
Right. Yeah, it was a
shoe repair shop, wasn't it? Yeah.
Shoe repair and boot repair.
Yeah.
And it was a alleyway before it actually was a building. So we're actually putting it back to what it was originally.
Right, yeah. They probably just squeezed that building in between and built that all those years ago.
We're calling it Shoehorn Alley because literally it was, shoehorned in. The building was into the alleyway.
They have multiple purposes.
We'll eventually get a plaque that will explain where that name came from. And the Art Commission worked
That's great.
Quite a bit to get that.
That's pretty cool.
I want to go into detail with one of the items the mayor mentioned related to the Arts Commission, the mural that's going to be on McCrae's.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually, we received a grant from a state organization that actually is a mural organization, and they are
very cool.
creating murals all through Georgia. And ultimately, when this program is finished, there will be a map associated with it, and you'll be able to travel to each of the downtown areas. We're very fortunate to be a part of that and asked to be a part of it. And so the City of Lawrenceville is going to be on this map for murals that for all of the state and frankly the nation can come and visit in the downtown area and see.
That's awesome. So great.
And two, if people really want to, don't have much to do one night and they want to watch the State of the City video where I was followed around by an entire crew to give it virtually this past year, it goes line by line of all these various projects we're doing.
That's right.
Including one of them being the Hooper Emick Theme Library, which we work a lot with different partnerships. So there we've been working with our Legacy Preservation Committee. Many were alumni of Hooper Emick School. And then we're also working with the county. So that's two partnerships.
Sure.
With our Arts Center, we're working with the Aurora to partner with them with their productions. And then we're working closely with the school system with SOTA, and then also working with Impact 46 as a partner as they do their various Summer of Impact program that they have that brings all these interns.
It's so great.
I was at an event at Central Gwinnett last night, and they were talking about 50 different kids are going to be participating in the internship program this year. So that's our biggest number yet. So
that's great. That's super vitally important, and just because of the way that, when you grow up in a school system, or you could say that the county is almost separated into school clusters. A lot of times, if you really think about the way that we grow up, you see the inside of that school more than you see probably anything. You go to home, you go to school. You go home, you go to school. So when you think about Lawrenceville, you think about where you went to school at, and I'll talk to people all the time. That's like the first and second question. If you're from here, where were you born? Born in Lawrenceville. Oh, really? Where'd you go to elementary school? First and foremost. You start talking to the students, and you start asking them questions about the city. What do you do? They don't really get out too much. There's a lot of these things that are not just a well-known thing of, oh man, there's all these free events to go to. I mean, every time that I hear about the students in Impact 46, I see those light bulb moments of, there's so much in the city we didn't know, and there's so much going on we didn't know, and connecting them to the businesses and the business owners and the stories, it builds, I think, this feeling and this sense that we do have our own culture here. We do have a place for everyone, and you don't have to graduate and move off somewhere in order to find yourself or find your place. Like, we have to have these kind of programs, or people won't be connected to our culture or our hometowns. Mm-hmm. It's so vitally important. You guys do a great job of that, of just, because you got to get into the school systems, and you got to really get the kids interested in looking next door. So
one quick story related to that. So I spent some time yesterday with our electrical staff. I generally meet with all of staff at least one time of a year over coffee or something. And as I was looking around the room, I noticed a young gentleman that I recognized his face, but I didn't remember his name. And as we were going around talking about what they do in the city and things like that, he mentioned that he was part of the intern program. He graduated from Central Gwinnett High School, and now he is a full-time employee on the route to be a lineman in our city.
That's amazing.
So here's a success story right here in front of us that he enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Graduated high school and went right into being on a path to be a lineman in the city. And so we're very excited about that opportunity as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have to have those kind of things. We're going to have to build up our workforce. Excuse me.
One other quick story is not only our internship program, but we also attract a lot of graduates from Georgia Gwinnett College. We recently just submitted our budget to council for their consideration for next fiscal year. The individual, the young lady who led that, actually was a graduate of Georgia Gwinnett College. And so it's really neat to see folks that are educated in our city end up being quality, high-performing employees of the city. And both of those two individuals I mentioned are high-quality, high-performing individuals.
That's awesome. It's so great.
With the internships, too, it's helped for the students and the kids to feel ownership of the city, feel invested.
Yeah.
So it's their city.
Right.
It's not someplace they're just visiting or walking through. They own it. It's their city, and it's not our city. It's their city. So
I think really that's the work. I think that's just that's it. That's the mission. We want folks to feel that. And I think Lawrenceville does a good job of that. Probably the best job that you've seen intentionally doing that.
Right.
Because you just talk to kids all over the place where it's like, well, what are you doing? I'm gonna go to New York. I'm gonna go to LA. I'm gonna go to Nashville. I'm gonna go to these different, Chicago. And you have those major city hubs with all this branding and all this hype, and their locations and favorite TV shows and all these kind of things. And it's because so much information is coming from the pop culture, and you have to really kind of get in there and wake everybody up to really showcase and invite them into a story worth living. And it's right here. You don't have to chase the rainbow. It's right here.
Well, it's really neat to go by on a Saturday or Sunday when maybe we don't have events at the lawn, and there's just all sorts of kids and families just having a great time and playing down there. And I know that's one new project that the staff is working on, is a dog park to put down there, because we've had a lot of requests for that, and we've got a lot of furry friends that visit the downtown area.
That's great. That's great. Well, let's jump into some of this other stuff you guys have got going on. You have some new things going on. You've got this co-responder project happening with police department. You've got, I mean, really, there's a whole host of things. Maybe we'll run through some of this stuff of the new things happening there.
Yeah, so we've sat here for quite a while and talked about some real exciting, sexy things.
Yeah.
That new buildings, new businesses.
Sure.
And when it really gets to what I am most proud of working in the city of Lawrenceville and under the leadership of mayor and council, is that's not where it stops. It actually goes to how do we help the community? How do we help those that may be less fortunate, may need some help in relates to mental health? So the co-responder program you mentioned was something that started July 1st of last year, where we have mental health professionals that are embedded in our police force. Every time we have a crisis call related to either it's a homeless, drug addiction issue, or somebody having a mental crisis or something at home, police respond with these mental health individuals. The police assess the situation, and then they back away and let the mental health professionals deal with that issue. And then they are able to get immediate help and get assigned to a certain area. So this has been a very successful program thus far. It's actually being modeled throughout the state. I know Gwinnett County is now doing this same type of a program through the precinct level. So you're seeing the importance of having mental professionals help and not be a default for our police department,
Right.
And the police officers that were responding to that. So
Sure.
we are already seeing an impact related to our police calls related to these individuals, because they're actually finding help through Viewpoint and other mental health facilities. So that's been an exciting program that we hope to continue to expand as we move into the next fiscal year.
That's
and
great.
It's kept hundreds of people out of jail.
That's awesome.
What they've reported. The police department has reported to the council.
Yeah, so in our first 6 months, the report that came out, we had 200 individuals that we responded to, and 198 of those, through the co-responder program, 198 of those we referred to a mental health or a crisis center, and they got immediate help. Before this program, those 198 folks would have been taken to jail.
Yeah, just arrested and taken into the system. Yeah, well, it's a great de-escalation measure too. When you're talking to the right person that has the right mindset, it doesn't have to always end in handcuffs if you have the right individual there to talk someone through an issue.
And that's something that I don't feel like nationwide we have given that support to the police department and the police officers,
Right.
frankly. So it's a great opportunity now where the police officers really see this partnership of addressing the mental health crisis in our community, and with people that are able to deal with that and know how to deal with it professionally on an everyday basis.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really cool program.
Trying to communities across the nation have always they throw everything at the police and want them to solve everything. So, for instance, if you're in poverty and you can't call up your doctor to say, hey, I've got a family member with a mental issue, crisis going on, you're going to call 911. So now the police are the psychiatrists coming, and
Right.
that's what we really have to support our police department and give them the proper training and the right resources so they can effectively deal with these individuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these individuals are members of our community. That's something
Right.
that we want to make sure doesn't get lost. This isn't individuals that we want to displace or individuals that we want to leave our community. They're here. They're members. Some of these individuals have lived there their whole life.
Sure.
And so having this opportunity to get help, that's what I think is a special thing that's happening here in the city. And it really is out of the leadership of mayor and council, who have indicated these are individuals that are part of our community. They deserve help. And
Yeah,
so,
that's a great way to go about it. I mean, we got to get through the stigma of what
everything under the categories of mental illness. I mean, everybody goes through a moment. Everybody's got a down chapter in their lives. We've all had them, and it's often the things that we don't talk about, and those are the times when you got to realize too. These cops, these guys are out there, and most of the time they're going to see somebody on what is perhaps their worst day ever. Right? Just like our first responders. And, having the help, like, available, someone to call to better serve an individual is just a tool we've got to give them.
And these mental health professionals can immediately assess the situation, and then ultimately they can direct this individual to a particular place and get them placed in a mental health facility or a drug rehab facility.
Yeah, that's great.
Because you have that professionalism that comes with that individual. So it's been very successful, and we're going to continue to expand that in our next fiscal year.
Perfect.
And we're also working to come up with a better plan to deal with our homeless population, because the largest population that's homeless are children. So we've got to deal with children and their parents, and then individuals, and then those, some are homeless, are having mental health issues. And so we're working to figure out how best to respond to that population in our community as well.
Well, you guys are doing some good work. And yeah, we do sometimes talk about all of the growth and the boom and all of that, but we have to also realize there's a lot of serving that happens in the city is to serve all of the citizens that are there, and some good work you guys are doing.
So additional services that the city's always involved in is our code enforcement. We have many communities in our neighborhoods in our city that their HOAs have sunset, so they're not active or mandatory. So people rely on the city to help people understand, don't park your car in the grass or, things of that nature.
Sure.
And keeping the houses, looking good. And quite frankly, we've come up, working with the Lawrenceville Housing Authority, come up with some different grants. Recently, last year, we did $400,000 a grant program to go out and help people repair their houses so they would not have to have issues with the code enforcement.
Oh, that's very cool.
And so you've got that type of service, and now people, when they turn in a complaint, it sort of goes like this. Somebody turns in their neighbor, but they don't want their neighbor turning them in, so it's sort of like entertaining. But we have a dashboard that any citizen or anybody can go to on the city webpage and see what's going on with any complaint, and follow to see what staff's doing, if it's gone to the courts or whatnot, so that they can feel confident that staff is working to stay on top of things like that.
Very cool.
And I think that's important. I think the mayor makes a great point related to transparency. One item that I deal with quite a bit and get a lot of complaints deals with code enforcement. We drive everybody to this dashboard that is fully transparent, tells where the notice of violations are, what property address is graphically shown. You can click on it, and as the mayor said, indicates where it's at in the process. Also, transparency is very important from a financial standpoint. We just announced a new financial transparency item that is on our website, and it actually just pulls back the curtain on every department and every expense. And frankly, you can actually search and see what we're spending with vendors. So if you think we're spending too much money at a certain vendor, it's right there in front of you.
Yeah.
So it's all online. So the idea of transparency in our community is something that we have heard loud and clear from mayor and council, that we want to be open, we want to be transparent, we want to be inclusive with our community.
That's good.
And we're rolling those initiatives out to make it more transparent.
Yeah, the name of the software is called Open Checkbook. And it literally, you can just go and try to find and do searches for whatever you could think of and see what checks are written to businesses or individuals or whatever, and ask questions.
Well, that's just great for the citizenry right there.
Yeah, so
it also goes back several years, so you can look at a department and determine, okay, why are we spending double the amount in this department than we did last year, or
Sure.
a less amount. So again, transparency, we're trying to pull the curtain back so all the citizens and the businesses know exactly where we're spending our money.
That's great.
And also, we've got years, if not a decade's worth of budgets, so that you can go to the website and pull up the current budget or budgets from years past, so that you could compare and see how things are working in that. And as well as our police department, that we have transparency there and work to make sure people understand. We're working to improve that even more so, but so that people can understand what our police force is doing and things of that, and how they're interacting with the community. Because we're really wanting to, our police department is part of the health of our community. It's not something that's out just to get speeding tickets to people. It is really to, make sure that we're a healthy community.
Yeah.
One more item related to transparency, and I think a lot of governments went to broadcasting their city council meetings live during COVID.
Sure.
I think COVID focused that. Mayor and council, even though generally speaking we're back to normal with our normal operations in government and also business, mayor and council wanted that to continue to be broadcast live. And so
that's pretty great.
All city council meetings you can see on Facebook.
That's right.
You can see it live. It's not tape recorded. So
not only that, it sends me a notification. I know when you guys are going live. I'm just having dinner. Oh, well, okay, there it is.
So there's
pretty neat.
Nothing done behind closed doors. That's
Right.
the whole idea of trying to combat that mentality that government is trying to do something behind the scenes or whatever, and that doesn't happen in the city of Lawrenceville. We're open book.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. I think that's why people are moving there. There's, it's an honesty to it, and you care about the community, and it's a great thing that separates Lawrenceville from a lot of other cities, a lot of other places, especially in the country right now, for sure.
One other item, an initiative that was really for mayor and council as well, it's a small item that you may think of, but it has been a huge success, is we had some changes in our trash and recycling program. And one of those items was to create glass recycling and having a point for that. The commodity market for glass, as we were collecting in our recycling program, they would not accept at the last point of delivery, so we had to stop collecting glass. And so mayor and council challenged staff to find a way to go about that. And so we have a glass recycling stop-off place in front of Public Works, right, and very easily accessed off of Pike Street at our Public Works facility. And it has been more successful than we could have ever imagined.
That's very neat. Yeah.
And so that has been and we're seeing folks outside the city use it as well, as we see folks come in and they see their tags and things like that. One little neat aspect of that is the glass that we are seeing is some high dollar wine, alcohol, and so we're actually using that with businesses to say, there is a market for the upper end related to residential and businesses here as well. So we've got they're buying it somewhere.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
Obviously that was a kind of a side thing that we have seen out of that glass recycling.
And it's because we have so many people work, travel to Lawrenceville to work, with our government and our hospitals and everything.
Right.
And so they're bringing the recycling while they're here in town before they go home if they don't live here. But it makes the point, if we could build some more rooftops, they'll come live here.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah.
Very. That's awesome.
One other item that comes up quite frequently, and I know the mayor and council get a lot of emails about parking. I want to touch on parking a little bit. There is, just so folks know, there is 1,200 free parking spaces in downtown.
Right.
We have 2 parking decks, and we have a variety of parkings throughout the parking in the downtown area. That has been something that's very important to council, that we keep this free to the public, and that sets us apart from, let's say downtown Atlanta and other places that we do provide free parking. And so we've got to do a better job of communicating where all the parking is at. And so we've got a downtown signage master plan that's coming out to direct folks to there. as well as some digital platforms to help people find parking. But the idea that we have 1,200 free parking spaces in the downtown area is something that it's been a commitment by council, providing funding for parking decks and things like that. And so we need to make sure that to get that out to the community, that there's a lot of free parking in the downtown area.
And you guys added the counters too over the parking garage, so you can literally see how many free spaces are in the garage before you pull in there.
That's correct.
Exactly.
That's pretty neat.
And, one thing to talk about, all our departments are getting awards all the time. So, from our gas department, our electrical department, our communications department, our finance department, they are continually getting state awards. And just recently, our police, became there's only 20%, 1 out of 5 police departments in the state of Georgia are actually certified, reach this level of certification, which our city has done. And then also, we just recently, with the Gwinnett Municipal Association, won one of their state visionary awards with our Summer of Impact program that we work with Impact 46. So a lot of awards a lot of award ceremonies we have to attend. So it's a good problem.
And I think these awards just really are a confirmation of what we are doing in the community. We don't take it for granted for any award that we get, but it is something that kind of is a confirmation of some of the great things that the leadership of mayor and council, and then obviously some incredible staff that we have here in the city that are making it happen.
Yeah, the staff of Lawrenceville and the employees across the board are world class. Every time I meet someone, I'm just so impressed at their depth of knowledge and passion on what it is that they do, and that is something to really be proud of, because when you're talking to cities and governments in general, it can be notorious for just having employees that are just in the government job, monotonous. Okay, I'm just here. What can I help you with? What's your problem? Cities are notorious for that. Oh, I got to go down to the electric department, or I got to go. And then everybody at Lawrenceville that I've ever met, talked to, is just so passionate and helpful. And I don't know who's doing all of the hiring over there, but you guys are doing a great job. I mean, it is perfect.
Yeah, they're doing great. And it's we do try to be responsive. I one time had a lady call me, ask a question, and she said, "And if you call me back, I'll drop dead." And I called her back. I said, "Don't drop dead. This is the mayor calling." So. But we have another program that it's a federal grant program called Recast. And it was so neat that of the 8 cities that are awarded it nationwide, most of them have a population of 2 million or more.
Wow.
And then you've got City of Lawrenceville with 30,000 population getting this $5 million grant, $1 million for 5 years. And it's focused on children at risk. And it's going to be we got a great committee that's been formed to work through to see how best to reach out and take care of our children in our community, which are our legacy. That's what it's all about. It's at the end of the day, it's not what buildings you build, it's what do you do with those children, because that's our legacy for the future.
Yeah, that's so true. Guys, we've talked about so much, so many points, so many things that you guys are doing. This has been a great overview for folks just to kind of catch up on all the things that have happened over the last couple of years and what's happening in the future, what folks can expect for Lawrenceville. Is there a favorite project that either one of you guys have that's upcoming that's just like the one where you're like, oh man, this is the bee's knees right here?
Chuck?
Yeah, I have one, and it's a project that we have completed, and then we are actually currently continuing to do the same type of program, and it relates to working with our extended stay and some of our older apartment programs. Now, some people may say, okay, you're buying an extended stay and you're displacing folks, and on the surface, that would be what it looks like. My favorite part about this, and why it's my favorite project, is because we have actually gone in, we've done intake on all the residents. Our goal is to find them a place in the city, and our goal also is to increase their job prosperity and also find them a permanent place.
Wow.
So in one of our extended stays, one of our first one that we purchased, 56% of the folks that we worked with found a better job, found a permanent home. Now, some folks may say, well, what about the other 44%?
Wow.
And I will go, what about the 56? We changed the families' lives of those
Right.
56% people.
Yeah.
Now, we're continuing to work with the other 44%.
Sure.
And we're hoping in others, but that's what I'm most excited about.
That's really great.
You know, again, as we talked about before, it's really fun and exciting to talk about new buildings and new projects. But when you transform someone that lives in an extended stay, find them a permanent home, find them a better job, you've changed their family, you've changed their direction in life, and that's what I'm most proud of.
Man, that's awesome.
And so the two that we've taken, that we've purchased and have helped with the relocation process, 53% in total for both of those extended stays. So now they have stable housing, and that's in not living week to week at an extended stay
Right.
with their entire family.
Yeah.
And then another favorite project would be the School of the Arts. I mean, it's the first time that a municipality has given $5 million to the school system in order to work as a collaborative partner in building School of the Arts at Central Gwinnett campus. So that's a really game changer there as well, because it's like a magnet school. Kids can come from all over the county, and then hopefully will want to live here. Their parents will. But it also is working all the way from elementary school to middle school to high school. They're working, the kids are learning more about arts and wanting to be a part of that. So it's pretty neat.
That's great. That's awesome, guys. Well, guys, thanks for y'all taking the time, come out and update all of us listening on the Lawrenceville Bicentennial Podcast. I'm sure we'll see you guys again on the podcast. Thank you for updating us. I think there's a ton of exciting stuff, and we'll see you guys next time. Guys, subscribe, like, share this with all of your friends. If you are in downtown Lawrenceville, if you're in Lawrenceville, make sure you share this with somebody that is your neighbor. This is just a good way to find out all the cool things that's happening in Lawrenceville, learn a little bit about the history and the process, and all the upcoming events, and just overall awesomeness of Lawrenceville. Guys, until next time, this is the Lawrenceville Bicentennial Podcast. You guys have a good one.